This is ESBR Boxing, and today we're going to discuss potential 2023 and how it pans out for Naoyo Inoue. Obviously, one of the biggest stars in boxing right now. A lot of people have him in their top three, definitely top five, pound for pound. And we saw him recently kind of, outbox Paul Butler with ease for 10 rounds before stopping him in the 11th. Claimed all of the belts at bantamweight. And what we're going to discuss here, what's he going to do next? Is he going to move up? Who do we think he should fight? How do we think 2023 will pan out for Inoue? And no better man to join me than Danny, our resident Inoue expert. So Danny, how are you, mate? Thanks for joining me.
Definitely no rest of today expert. All good, lad. Good, nice early one today. Kickstart today, chat a bit of boxing with yourself. Looking forward to it.
Yes, mate, absolutely. So as we say, you know, we were only here a week or two ago discussing Inoue after, in the aftermath of his victory over Paul Butler. We've probably gone over quite a lot of the same stuff as we will do here, but obviously he claimed all four belts at bantamweight, and it looks likely that very likely that is going to make the step up to super bantamweight. First and foremost, Danny, do you think that's the best move for Inoue? And when do you think we'll be seeing him first in the new year?
Yeah, probably. I think it is the best move. I'm not sure what there really is to sort of keep him about. At bantamweight. I mean, the one fight he's not really had there that people called out for was Casemiro, and it looks like he'll be moving up as well. The only other thing you could think of is like if a Chocolatito or an Estrada or someone like that moved up, but I don't know how likely that would be. So I think it looks, very likely that he will move up to super bantamweight. Um, he didn't have the most active 2022. I know he fought twice, which is probably, active by modern champion standards, but I know the Butler fight was sort of one of his longer ones, but I don't think he shipped a punch really, let alone any real damage. So you'd like to think you'd be able to see him out within the next sort of 3 or 4 months in a fight sort of to, find his feet at the new weight. It'll still obviously be like a well ranked fighter and then hopefully into a big one, in the summer.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I think what you've alluded to there is kind of similar to what I was thinking. Um, the fact that he is moving up, yes, it's a smaller weight, so it's not as big a step. It's not like he's moving up half a stone or anything. It's 4 pounds. It's from 118 up to 122. But obviously, in proportion, 4 pounds for someone like a Nue is a lot more than 4 pounds for someone in the heavier weights. So I think for me personally, I don't mind seeing him almost have a tune-up fight. When I say tune-up, I don't want him to fight, a bin man or anything like that. But someone in the top 20, I would take in the super bantamweight because let's be honest, Inoue will be regarded as a top five super bantamweight without even having a fight there. Top, arguably, yeah, definitely top five super bantamweight without even having a fight there.
Yeah.
So someone inside the top 20 who we all know he'll beat, but could give him a test. I think I would like to see that in the in his first fight at super bantamweight. And then I don't know, I'm not 100% sure. You mentioned there about maybe a big fight in the summer. I agree in terms of the big fight, but I'm not sure if it would be for a belt. It depends what happens with obviously Fulton and Akhmadaliev. Are they ever going to have a unification? We don't know. I'm not too sure. I really want to see the Casemiro fight. We talked about this last time, and a lot of people commented on the video. Casemiro loyal fans saying that Inoue was ducking him and stuff. And yeah, that's the fight. If I'm, as a boxing fan, I want to see Naoyo Inoue against John Riel Casemiro. Summer next year. I think that's a cracking fight.
Yeah, definitely. I think it would be a really entertaining clash of styles as well because obviously Casemiro is a very aggressive fighter himself. He's a very big puncher. He'll not look to sit and sort of, run and defend and cover up for the whole fight like Butler did, and not to criticize Butler. And obviously they're sort of both from Asia as well, which adds another dynamic to it. But no, I think that would be if Casemiro does confirm then he moves up, which you would imagine he would. I think that would be a great fight for one of Inouye's, sort of first one or two at bantamweight, super bantamweight, sorry. And there's no reason that, couldn't be his first one even.
Yeah, no, 100% I agree. I would like to see that. I suppose it would make sense maybe even to be the first one because they're both, bantamweights really moving up. I mentioned there the two champions. Obviously, Fulton himself has a couple of belts, as does Akhmadaliev. Do you think that in 2023 we will see Naoyo and Inoue fight either of those two champions if they do still have the belts?
Sorry, lagged out a wee bit there. Yeah, I think it's hard to imagine a full calendar year going by without Inoue having a world title fight. Really, I don't think he'll move up unless he's fairly sure of getting one. And I think it's probably most likely to be Stephen Fulton purely because he's got the WBO belt, and obviously they've got that rule where a reigning champion moving up in weight automatically becomes mandatory. It's sort of how you got the Joshua shot. So I think there's a good chance you could see Inoue versus Stephen Fulton in 2023, sort of maybe second half of the year. I know an undisputed fight would take preference over that if normally governing bodies are fairly lenient with, sort of forgoing their mandates to get an undisputed made. But I just don't think that it's likely that there's going to be any real headway made towards Akhmadaliev Fulton. So I think there's a good chance you could see Inoue Fulton next year.
Yeah, I hope so. I would love to see that fight. Before I mention another fight that I would potentially like to see, but while we're talking about the champions, you know, do you see if me and you were having this exact same conversation in 12 months' time, do you think we'd be talking about Inoue as a dominant force at super bantamweight? Do you think he will be a champion and this time next year?
You definitely can't rule it out, like, because of how dominant he's been, throughout his career so far. The one thing I would just say on Inoue and like his career is like, completely unblemished. He's not beat a pound for pound level fighter in their prime yet. Not even really close to it. The best name on his record is Daenerys. Went life and death with him in the World Boxing Super Series. And then obviously, blew him out in 2 rounds. But the first fight definitely wasn't a prime Daenerys, and the second one definitely wasn't. And you look at his best one apart from that's probably like an Emmanuel Rodriguez, and then you're going down to maybe like flyweight and superfly. So I think if he was to fight a Stephen Fulton, who's sort of, top 10 pound for pound, certainly top 15, that's definitely the toughest fight of his career. A fighter well in their prime, and a fighter with big size advantages. So I don't think it's a given that he goes in there and blows the likes of Stephen Fulton out of there, sort of the way he has been doing down at bantamweight. And I think if he goes up there and wins a world title against either of them at that weight, Fulton or Akhmadaliev, he would be pound for pound number one for me, without a doubt.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think what you mentioned there about, it is kind of it's a good point. He hasn't really beaten, if you compare him to some of the other pound for pound fighters at the top of the list, they have some big wins on their resume. Bigger wins than probably Inoue has, but yeah, no, I mean, don't get me wrong. I do think Inoue is the real deal. But I do want to see him fight someone like Fulton, Akhmadaliev, Casemiro, or another name that I'll just throw out at you. I wouldn't mind seeing the Lewis Neary fight. How do you think that would go?
Yeah, it'd be a great fight. Either I like so your Luis Nery's, your sort of Brandon Figueroa's, sort of just the level below the world champions. Would both be really good fights. I would favour Inoue in both of them probably, but yeah, that would be a great fight. An entertaining clash of styles too, I would say.
Yeah, 100%. Well, listen, Danny, I not much more. I think we can talk about in terms of Inoue, unless there's anything you want to add. But yeah, I'm just hoping that he has another big year and that he's not too, I hope he has maybe more than two fights. I'd like to see him have three fights this year, one in March time, one in late summer, and one at the end of the year. That would be perfect. And who knows, we could be coming back next year, either gloating and saying that Inoue is the best thing since sliced bread, or we could be coming back here saying how it was just too big of a step for him. But who knows? Only time will tell.
I know maybe we get Liam Davis for Inoue in Telford next year. Davis goes up, wins a world title. Imagine Inoue in the UK.
Brilliant. Well, listen, mate, thanks very much for joining me. I enjoyed that chat, and yeah, I'll speak to you again soon.
No problem, pal.